the mystery of dawn, the eternal rebirth of the sun, whose rays pour down upon the waters of the Ganges. In India, a deeply spiritual land, such a sight can only be the work of the gods. The Ganges is much more than a river. It's a goddess, Ganga, who came down to earth to save humanity. Born several thousand years ago on the banks of the great river, Benares, Varanasi in Sanskrit, is now the Hindus' most sacred city. Every year, millions make a yatra, a pilgrimage to this holy site. For each one, the journey to Benares to bathe in the waters of the Ganges, thus attaining moksha, deliverance, is the goal of a lifetime. All the spiritual activity is concentrated on the ghats, the stairways leading down to the water that cover a 5-kilometer stretch of the riverbank. Every morning, the local regulars and pilgrims gather to perform their ablutions. The pilgrims, who've come from the 4 corners of India, are less familiar with the rituals, so they engage the services of the pandas, the Brahmin priests.
It is said just taking one dip in the Ganges in Varanasi can clean you from all the sins and bad karmas of this life as well as your previous lives. The first prayer in Hindu way of life is called Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Everybody in this world become happy. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. Everybody in this world become fearless. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantam. Everybody see each other with loving eyes. Ma Kashchit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. And oh God, oh Mother Ganga, if you do all these things, if still some pain is remain in this world, give it to me.
The Ganges, which takes its source in the heart of the Himalayas, crosses the entire north of India, then after a voyage of more than 2,500 kilometers, spills into the Gulf of Bengal. The Ganges, a sacred river that fertilizes the earth and nourishes the spirit.
You know that Ganges river, according to the Hindu mythology, come out from the pot of Brahma, the creator. The creator is holding a pot and the water is coming out from there. Then it washes the feet of Vishnu, the preserver, and then come on the head of Shiva, the destroyer, and then come to the earth. So you can imagine how holy that water is, which carries all the power of Trinity of Hinduism.
It may not be easy to comprehend the Hindus' fervent devotion to the Ganges, but to get an idea, all you have to do is sit yourself down on one of the ghats and observe what goes on. These men, getting their heads shaved, are making an offering of part of their body to the Ganges. In the world of the ghats, sounds and colors are inextricably linked. Women with vaporous saris emerging from their holy dip, and beggars honoring the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva embodied in a trident, or a tattoo across their forehead. Close to 60,000 pilgrims come to bathe in the Ganges every day. A windfall for the priests, beggars, vendors selling offerings, guides, and boat renters, but also for the dobiwala, the washermen. Washed in the water of the Ganges, then spread on the ghats to dry, the clothes are dazzling, no doubt about it. But are they any holier for all that? Benares was founded more than 3,000 years ago by an Aryan tribe that came down from the north of India. Under the name of Kashi, the city of divine light, it soon became a holy place for Hindus. But in the 11th century, it was conquered by Muslim invaders. Pillaged, destroyed, reconstructed, then destroyed again, the city has survived down through the centuries. And in the Benares of today, one can note the singular sight of mosques and Mogul palaces, side by side with temples dedicated to Shiva. The ghats are more or less the showcase of Benares. They are where all the tourists and pilgrims converge. But just a few hundred meters away, one can discover a whole other city. In a sinuous maze of narrow lanes where the sun hardly penetrates, lives a whole community of shopkeepers and craftsmen. Even though it's a certain distance from the banks of the Ganges, this city of shadows is totally dedicated to Shiva and the thousands of divinities that make up the Indian pantheon. Here, as in the rest of India, people trade, talk, laugh, and watch death pass by without even blinking an eye.
जब लोग मृत्यु हो जाते हैं तो मृत्यु होने के बाद परिवार
When someone dies, the family cleanses the body with water, milk, and clarified butter.
दूध शहद से स्नान कराने के बाद
Then they wrap the body in a white cloth and make a bamboo pallet.
लपेट करके और बांस का
Then 4 members of the family lift the body onto their shoulders and carry it out of the house.
चलते हैं घर से
They repeatedly chant Ram Nam Satya E. The name of God is the only truth, to ward off evil spirits as the procession makes its way to the Ganges to bathe the body.
वो तब जो है फैमिली के लोग आते हैं लकड़ी की
Meanwhile,
दुकान
the
पर।
rest of the family goes to the wood seller.
ये कितने किलो है,
They discuss
कितने
the
मन है,
price and the quantity
तो
of wood they'll need.
360 किलो
You need
लकड़ी
350
एक
kilos of wood for a
आरती में लगता
cremation.
है। तो जो 360
They
किलो
can't
लगता
weigh
है,
350
एक बार
kilos
में
all at one
360
time.
किलो नहीं
The
तौला
scales
जाता
only
है।
go up to 80
एक बार
kilos.
में 80 किलो तौला जाता है, जिससे कि 4 बार तौला
So they
जाएगा
weigh out the
और
wood
4 बार
piecemeal,
करके आदमी
and a
कंधे पर
porter
रख के
carries it
वो ले
down to
जाता
the
है
ghat
घाट में,
on his shoulders
घाट
to
में ले
prepare the
जाकर
funeral
चिता
pyre.
सजाएगा।
Benares, the holy city of Hinduism, is also known for its universities, where Sanskrit and classical Hindi are taught, and for the traditional music schools that have produced some of the country's most famous musicians. India may be the land of Gandhi, but it has at times lapsed into violence, and the religious conflict with the Muslim community that took place at independence has left deep scars. Benares has a sizable Muslim community, the heritage of long centuries of Mogul domination. This is where Tarak lives and works. He's one of the most reputed sitar makers in the city.
There's no religion in this music. Just coming into a place where people are making music is enough to feel blessed by the religion of the notes. When it comes to music, all religions blend for Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, and Punjabis alike. The most famous musicians are Muslims and Bengalis, like Ravi Shankar, who's Bengali, and Imran Khan, who's a Muslim, and Zakir Hussain, also a Muslim. And I'm Bengali.
The evening in store for us will confirm the sitar maker's non-sectarian claims. The Muslim district of Benares is abuzz with activity. Elephants and camels are being readied for a joyous parade through the city to celebrate the sacrifice of Hussein, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. At the same time, on the banks of the Ganges, another night of cremations is beginning. Men are stirring the pyre with long bamboo poles, the same poles, in fact, that were used to carry the body to the river. The ritual that follows is eternal, unchanging. The man with the straw torch is the eldest son, or if there is none, a close relative of the deceased. His head is shaven, and he's wearing the traditional white dhoti. He circles the pyre several times and then sets fire to it. By choosing to be cremated in Benares, practicing Hindus hope to escape the cycle of reincarnation and attain nirvana. However, a word of warning, only those who've died of natural causes are allowed the privilege of cremation. Victims of accidents, sickness, or violent death carry bad karma, so their bodies are consigned directly to the depths of the Ganges. Life, death, day, night. It's surely to escape the infernal cycle of time that the Hindus show such fervor in their devotion to the goddess Ganga, who came down to earth to save humanity. Every evening, the Ganga Aarti takes place. It's a ceremony performed by young Brahmins to honor the Ganges with their prayers. The faithful and tourists alike gather to witness this ceremony that's choreographed like a stage show. This is a far cry from the authenticity of the morning dip, but Benares has chosen to live with its time. Surely a way of holding on to the hope of eternal life. We'll be sailing on the Sukafa for our discovery voyage along the Ganges and the Hooghly. Now we're nearing Patna, our first port of call. The landscape is barren, and the nature of the banks indicates that there could very well be submerged sandbanks. But that doesn't seem to bother our captain very much.
There are markers in the water, but most of the time we navigate by instinct. What's more, we have a pilot of the Indian River Company on board. I rely on our experience, mine and the pilot's, to find the route. We don't use a compass or GPS or radar. We navigate by instinct, and we follow the orders of the pilot, who keeps a close watch on the depth of the water.
The Sukafa drops anchor in the middle of the river, and we head for shore in a local launch that serves as a tender. Pataliputra, the former name of Patna, was the imperial residence of the Indian Emperor Ashoka, who ruled over the entire Indian subcontinent in the 3rd century BC. Nothing remains of that epoch. The arrival of the Mughals in the 16th century marked the renaissance of the city. Then in the 18th century, Patna enjoyed a revival of sorts under the British. The Golgar, a grain silo shaped like a beehive, is the sole testimony to that colonial period. With its 2 million inhabitants, its narrow, noisy streets swarming with rickshaws, bikes, motorcycles, and cars, Patna is a rather charmless city. The only thing that distinguishes it from other Indian cities is the large number of turbaned men. Patna, in effect, is home to one of the Sikh community's 4 holiest temples. The religion, 20 million strong now, was founded in the 15th century by Guru Nanak. He was striving to achieve a symbiosis between Islam and Hinduism. Harmandir Sahib, the white marble temple in Patna, was built to honor Govind Singh, the 10th and last Sikh guru, who was born here in 1660.
From my point of view, the Sikh religion is the pure Hindu religion. That's what Sikhism is. To be a good Sikh, one must follow the 5 precepts laid down by Guru Nanak. Wear your hair long, let your beard grow, carry the dagger, wear the bracelet, and lastly, consume no alcohol or drugs and eat no meat or fish. We carry the kirpan, the dagger, for self-defense, because the Guru Govind Singh was a warrior as well as a saint. You have to follow the teachings of Guru Sahib, everything he said and did. Only if you follow all that are you a good Sikh.
Anchored in Hinduism and marked by Islam and Sikhism, the province of Patna is an active center of Buddhism as well. Following in the footsteps of the Buddha, who spent most of his life in this region, we head for the historic site of Nalanda. On the way, we make a stop at the village of Bhagalpur, where the weekly cattle market is taking place. It's common knowledge that cows are sacred in India. This surely explains why most of the cattle dealers are Muslims.
Yes, this is the Bhagalpur market. We come here to buy or sell. I sold 2 cows this morning, but I still have 3 I haven't managed to sell. So now what am I going to do with them?
The spirit of Buddha permeates Nalanda. It's said that he would often come here to meditate in the shade of the mango trees. It was in the 5th century BC, sometime after he died, that the Buddhist university was founded here. It was one of the world's great centers of learning until the Afghans sacked the city in the 12th century.
The University of Nalanda was founded in the 5th century before Christ by King Magadha Kumara Gupta Pratham. Then, the subsequent kings of the Gupta dynasty built vihars, Buddhist temples. The name Nalanda is made up of 2 words, Nalam, meaning lotus, and Da, meaning he who gives. Since the lotus flower is the symbol of knowledge, Nalanda is the place where knowledge is transmitted.
According to the famous Chinese traveler and scholar Yun Sang, who came here in the 7th or early 8th century, more than 10,000 monks and students lived in Nalanda at the time.
Hyun Sang tells that at that time they taught all known branches of the sciences here. The students would study very important subjects: Hetu Vidya, linguistics, medicine, geomancy, theology, and astrology. They also taught the sacred scriptures here, the Hinayana and the Mahayana Vedas. The historian Radha Kumud Mukherjee notes that they would teach 100 subjects every day, but the most important were those dealing with religion and philosophy.
India has lived in harmony with its elephants for thousands of years. They are even considered sacred in the Vedic religion. Before getting back to our boat in Patna, we make a little side trip to Sonepur, where the big cattle market is taking place. There are only a few elephants left in the pen from the 40 or so at the beginning of the cattle fair. On account of the enormous quantity of food they need, the owners can't keep them in the city, much to the chagrin of the children who delight in watching them. Over the past few years, the cattle market has become a full-fledged outdoor fair where crowds flock every evening. Early next morning, we continue our voyage down the Ganges. The captain stays in radio contact with the tugboat in front of us. It's guiding us down the channel, a sign that there are sometimes problems navigating on this stretch of the Ganges.
The most common problem is the depth of the water. Sometimes we have 1.20 meters, 1.80 meters, or 3 meters. It varies. Sometimes there are sandbanks, and we can get stuck when the depth is less than our draft. These problems arise because the channel shifts every day with the currents. So the first problem is that the channel is not stabilized. The second is that there are no lights to navigate at night. So we can navigate only in the daytime. The river is too wide, and you can't make out the shores at night. That's why we don't risk traveling at night.
We soon dock at the pontoon that leads up to the little town of Munger, a short impromptu stop. Here we're far from the noise and tension that reign in the big Indian cities. Munger is a bit of country that's been citified. As we're about to get back on board, we notice a small group of women dressed in brightly colored saris accompanying a newlywed couple down to the river. When they arrive on the bank of the Ganges, they get ready to make their offerings.
दीदी गोदी दीजिए इसको बस ऐसे दिखा दे बस हो गया चलो सेंदूर ढूंढ रही हो सेंदूर की है I am Deep.
My name is Deep and this is my husband Sagjim. I'm very happy with my marriage. I've been married only one day.
It's a tradition for newlyweds. We come down to the Ganges to pray and to do a holy dip.
उसके बाद ही
Our voyage along the Ganges continues. The countryside soon takes on the golden hues of the setting sun. We are coming up to Jhangira Island. The captain will drop anchor just offshore. As the night prepares to once again shroud the waters of the Ganges with its mysterious cloak, the monks from Jahangira's monastery begin their chants and prayers in honor of the great sacred river.
जय जयकार ना बोलते भारत को महान बनावे यह सब है प्रचार हो जाएगा कि हाँ भारत को जय जयकार ना हो विश्व का कल्याण हो विश्व का कल्याण हो सनातन धर्म की जय हो सनातन धर्म की जय हो सद्गुरु शंकराचार्य महाराज की जय हो जगन नमः पार्वती पते हर हर महादेव भारत माता की जय हो
The new day dawning is an invitation to the marriage of the sun and the Ganges. We've arrived at Bhagalpur. This city resembles the other cities bathed by the Ganges that we visited over the past few days. But if you listen carefully, you can make out a different sort of sound behind the cacophony of honking horns and backfiring rickshaws. A sound coming from the nearby streets. Bhagalpur is a city of weavers. There's a workshop behind every door. There's a worker operating each machine. These machines are gaining ground, but they haven't yet silenced the countless craftsmen who continue to practice traditional weaving.
It's not only in this town that they do weaving, but also in the neighboring districts. Bihar Sariks, Mirza Chowki, Bali Ghat. A number of villages can do this work if they choose to. We work with an intermediary. He supplies us with all the raw material and pays us only for our labor. When we finish a lot, we turn it over to our intermediary, then he'll sell it locally or abroad. The most we can earn with the whole family working, all the brothers and sisters, is between 60 and 80 rupees per day.
We get back to the Sukafa anchored in the middle of the Ganges. Since we've left Benares, the Ganges has been flowing eastward, but now it veers southward toward the Gulf of Bengal. The elegance of this fisherman's gesture as he casts his net is like an invitation to linger on in the village for the entire day. The warbling of the birds, the squeaking of the water pump, the tinkle of goat bells. The sounds of pastoral India are a delight to the ears. The village seems steeped in a lazy harmony that nothing disturbs, not even these monkeys raiding the crops. An exemplary case of peaceful coexistence, cows and cricket players sharing the same field.
You have the team and you have the captain. When he says something, you have to do it. There's a wicket keeper and 2 batters. You have 10 fielders and a bowler.
And what's your name?
Molu Kumar.
संतोष कुमार ठाकुर
राजेश कुमार
मेरा नाम है संजय कुमार
विक्रम कुमार सनी
The shouts and laughter of the cricket players doesn't seem to disturb the cremation ceremonies taking place nearby on the banks of the Ganges. In India, death doesn't take offense from the joy of the living. This is our last day of navigation on the main branch of the Ganges. At Farakka, our next stop, we'll turn off onto the Hooghly River. Approaching Farakka, we enter Bengal. A Muslim chief, Ilyas Shah, conquered the region in the 14th century. But it was with the advent of the Mogul dynasty in the 16th century that Islam spread to all corners of India. The Moguls introduced a highly refined style of architecture to India. The Taj Mahal in Agra is naturally the most well-known example. But it's not the only one. Throughout Bengal, the Mughals constructed palaces and mosques. The Jami Mosque of Rajmahal, with its harmonious marriage of arcades and cupolas, is another outstanding example. We let the main branch of the Ganges continue its course eastward towards Bangladesh, while we head south through a narrow channel flanked by rice fields. Before us, blocking the horizon, looms the Farakka Dam. This dam was constructed in the 1970s on account of the silting of the port of Calcutta, situated at the mouth of the Hooghly, 400 kilometers to the south. Since then, part of the Ganges flow has been channeled toward the Hooghly. For Bengal, the breadbasket of India, it's a blessing. For Bangladesh, the drop in the water level has led to a rise in salinity, increasing the risk of desertification. In Benares, the water of the Ganges is sacred. In Farakka, it's the lifeblood of agriculture. In Farakka, as in all the villages in India, they use dried cow dung to feed the cooking fires. It's not a very good fuel, but it's free and ecological. The village women work in the fields, take care of the children, cook, and even find the time to make bidis, conical cigarettes composed of a pinch of raw tobacco rolled into a single leaf from the kendu, a tropical tree.
I earn 55 rupees for 1,000 bidis.
That's all?
That's right, just 55 rupees.
While the women are trying to earn a few extra rupees, where are the men? Well, they're not at the village cafe sipping chai sharam, the famous hot Indian tea with milk and ginger. They don't have the time. They've harvested and dried the rice, and now it's time to thresh it.
The problem is that we didn't get much rain this year. And to have a good rice harvest, you need rain. You understand? God gives us the rain. For people to be happy, they have to have a good harvest. But for that, you need water. No water, no harvest. The peasants you see here don't own their own land. They work other people's land. This is how they feed their families throughout the year. And whatever they don't consume themselves, they can sell. That's how it works.
At the beginning of our voyage in Benares, we found the India travelers dream of, colorful, mystical, and mysterious. But tonight, our last in Farakka, will be plunged into an India that we never could have imagined. A marriage. This agitated group of men, this dilapidated brass band, they are here to accompany the groom to the house of his future bride. The origin of the music may be uncertain, but the ritual, on the other hand, is 100% local, as the groom's mother explains.
The festivities will continue tomorrow. We'll greet the future bride, along with a good number of guests. We'll carry out several rituals. We've already started them. Today, for example, we went to the Ganges to fetch water, and the groom went with us too. There were the women with 4 copper vessels that we filled with water from the Ganges.
the final ritual before the procession gets underway. The groom's mother washes her son's feet with water from the Ganges. During the night, this long procession will meander through the village and end up with the abduction of the young bride at dawn. She'll then be brought back to the groom's house, always by car, as the tradition demands.